What's up, guys? This is your lucky day. This is the third video I'm making about this shitty game, and this is actually the wrong project. This is not our project. Okay, let me, we are still professionals here. This is some other game I've been working on. Maybe you will see it, maybe not. Depends on how I'm feeling. Okay, so this is what we got last time. It's a little ship, if you can tell, that is moving. I know, kind of hard to tell. From left to right, and it changes the texture, which is extremely simple, as we've seen. If you've seen the video, which you should go and watch in its entirety. I don't even know if that's a real word. As you could probably tell. Okay. So, let's see. Let's go into our stream, well, not stream, but our project here, and let's see. We have this okay, can we open? Well, we are still professionals, so we are just gonna pretend that didn't happen. What the fuck was that? Well, anyway, I can't view the pictures. Okay. We have to calm down. Okay, what can we do in this amazing tutorial? Well, I would like to see this background, which is 64 by 64. So let's try to draw that. So I'm gonna do something to this window, see if it doesn't stop asking me for shit. So let's see, how is this called? Space background, 2 frames. Let's draw a background. Okay, let's draw a background. It's gonna be background 0 because we have 2 frames. And guys, this is not the good way of doing animations, but you know what, I think we're gonna survive with this. We're just making, a quick little game, so don't worry about it. This is gonna be just fine. So let's see, we have here, let's make a texture detail, background animation, and it's gonna have 2 frames. And usually what we would have is an object inside of the scene that's gonna actually have the background, but we can go on later and clear up all that stuff. So we shouldn't worry about it too much. It's just a little thing that we're doing here, so yeah, not a big deal. Nice. Keeping it professional over here. So we have a background 0 and a background 1 because we know there are only 2 frames. This is the only reason why we're doing this. And what's gonna happen is before we render the scene, we want to render the background. So let's do that. Draw image, draw texture, perhaps. I think that's it, and we actually don't want to change anything about it. I think we actually do want to change something, so let's use the pro version of the function, and we need to take the texture. So we have the background animation, and we're gonna have something like current frame, which is gonna be the index. The source is actually gonna be, and we also have to specify that we want the texture from this. because remember the texture details actually contained the actual texture for Raylib and the rectangle that specifies okay, I just hit something in my room. I hope I'm not gonna die. So it's basically telling us how much and from where we are taking stuff from our for our image that we actually want. So we can have multiple images inside of an image. Imageception. That was very cringe. I'm sorry. So we have the source. We have the destination, which should be 0, 0. Screen width, screen height. And I know this is really messy, but again, we don't really care. We're just making something for fun. Maybe you want to use this as a reference at some time. Maybe you are curious to see how stuff is being done. I don't know. We have this current frame, which is over here. And let's see, in current frame, that looks pretty good. We set here the target FPS to 60. So I think this actually makes this tick at 60 frames. So you know what it means? It means in 1 second we are gonna pass through this loop 60 times. And because we know that, we can actually know that when 1 second passes, when we are in here without doing any kind of time interrogation for our system, you know, whatever that would mean. So we are basically, we don't actually have to ask the system to give us the time in order for us to know when 1 second passed, because of this set target FPS thing we've done up here. So what's gonna happen is we can have here like a time, and but even better, we can have it increment every frame, and it should be we have to do a modulo with 60 because we know it's 60 times. So when this gets to 60 or to 0 rather, it means it's gonna be 1 second past. Right? I hope it makes sense. If not, then I'm sorry. So let's say if time is yeah, actually I think it's better to do it 60, right? So, and I think there is actually a function get frame time from Raylib. I don't know. Frame time. Get time in seconds for last frame drawn. So this is the actual delta time we care about. And so what we are gonna do is actually delta time. This is actually better than, you know, hard coding stuff like that. And we say, hey, if the time actually is passed, like, I don't know, let's say we change the texture like once every 100 milliseconds or something, we are gonna increment this current frame, and we actually need to call this the background time because we are gonna reset this now. So this becomes 0. We reset the time, we increment the frame, and we have to make sure we are actually not incrementing it too much. So what's going to happen here is we do a modulo with 2, and that should be that. Let's see if we got something on screen. and we do not. So let's see why not. We see here an error from Raylib saying failed to open file. So that could have multiple meanings. I see here that I actually forgot to put in the file extension, which is probably PNG. Let's wing it. Let's see. And we see it actually was. Something we actually don't see is the background being animated. So I'm not entirely sure why, but we see here we have actually two textures, one next to each other. So it's clear we did something wrong. We did load these, 0, 1. It starts from 0. It gets incremented, it gets modulo. So this should have the correct frame, supposedly. Something else we should fix is this should be actually a multiple of 64. Let's say we have a scale of 4. So it matches the background ratio. Okay, that's you know, that's a little bit cute, not gonna lie. Let's say 8. Like that. We still don't know why it doesn't animate. We can test now why it doesn't do it. So let's see. Okay, it doesn't do it because this never gets triggered actually. Background time is 0, which is really weird. Delta time is 15 seconds. Now this is 15. Are we doing something to this? We don't. Okay, that's really weird. So now it actually went in and changed the frame, which I don't actually see a difference. So something is definitely wrong here, and I'm not sure why. So this again is 0. Okay, let's print this out. This is a bit of a weird behavior. I mean, I understand I don't have IO stream included, but you don't have to do me like that. So, oh, I know why. Guys, do you know why? Pause the video, try to think about it. Okay, I give you 5 seconds. 5. Okay, the issue was the background timer was an integer. I forgot we actually changed it. So now it should work. And as you can see, the background is animated. What a surprise. Let's change it. Let's say one frame actually spans like 300 milliseconds. And as you can see, it worked, surprisingly. Nice. Great. Now let's do something else. Let's actually make it so that we can shoot. Maybe we can shoot bullets. That sounds pretty interesting, right? So let's do that. Let me turn off some stuff here. I don't want any noises. So let's see where we actually have the bullets. We have here the projectiles. So I could maybe assume that's where we have our bullets. We have enemy projectile player beam, which, you know, I can't actually open because I don't know, like, what's this? This is horrible. Anyway, extra large. like, is this like 4 animations? I actually can't tell. This is unworkable. Can I open this with... Well, I can, but it's still... I think it's 2 projectiles. Like, I'm just gonna pause the video and see what's happening, why I can't open the files. Okay guys, not gonna lie, I think I have to restart the machine or some shit. I'm just not gonna do it. We're gonna work with shackles on our hands. I think we're gonna be fine. Let's just copy this path, because obviously the path is correct. I don't know why the explorer doesn't want me to see it. I mean, it sucks, but I don't even care. Let's copy the name, .png, do that, just like that, and we have, let's call it player projectile, just like that, and let's create a new object which is called player projectile, like that. Let's actually copy what we have in the player and make this player projectile. We have this projectile over here, and let's create also player projectile.cpp. Let's actually copy what we have inside the player, because we are going to use some of that. We know our texture is going to be player projectile, I think. Speed 20. We don't have all of these stuff. We know projectiles, I mean this specific projectile, and we're gonna have to change this, will move only up, so there's no point in changing the X component, so we can just do that, and that's it. And for now we have no collision or anything, but at some point we're gonna actually call something, and don't forget to also change this like that. Player projectile. Good. So what's gonna happen is now, so what I was meaning to say at some point is that at some point we actually have to check for all the movement, and only for the like the rigid body objects, objects that will have a rigid body attached, or it's probably going to be something even simpler than that, you'll see. I mean, I already envision how I would like to do that, and it's really simple. We just have to check for stuff when we move, only when we move. So what's going to happen here is say, hey, if, and we're going to have here like a wrapper function called get key or is key down. I'm going to have key space or something, and we have to create this function. So let's do that now. Static bool is key down int key, and all we are going to do is actually return the is key down function from Raylib. But in the future, if we decide to change something, like we don't want to use Raylib anymore or whatever, we can just come in here and change this stuff, and wherever you use input, you're not going to see the changes. It's just going to work. This is how, you know, APIs work. Key like that. Pretty nice. In object here, in the player, we say mScene because we have a pointer to the scene. If you remember, we can just add a new game object, and that game object is actually going to be a player projectile. Player projectile, and this is the player projectile, a new player projectile. We're gonna pass in the scene that we also have, and the starting position is actually our position for now. Okay, and it should actually be done. I think there might be an issue with our scene game loop in tick here, where we iterate stuff. The iterators might actually be wrong at some point because we add stuff and we at the same time are already iterating the vector. And so if the vector needs to enlarge to become bigger, then it will need to actually move the objects, and so the previous iterator that we were using here would get invalid. And so what we do is actually, instead of directly adding this to the game objects, to the whole list, we are actually gonna hold an intermediary list, an in between, which is gonna be like the pending game objects for pending add, pending game objects. Let's call that, and we say push back. We do that, and what's gonna happen is actually before every tick, we are gonna add those objects. Pending, yeah, like that. We're gonna add those, and we are gonna clear that list so we don't add the same entities over and over again. So we can do that, and it's really simple, like very straightforward, nothing is gonna break. Okay, good. So now maybe it's gonna work first time. Fingers crossed. Well, not really. Okay. Let's see. So int to, we don't care. Okay, we don't want that. Okay, we already have a segmentation fault. No, it's a Stack Overflow. Okay, now this seems like an extremely interesting problem here to fix. Let's see what's happening. So we called player tick, and then we called get horizontal. Ah, I see. So this actually calls this, which it thinks it calls this. We actually want to call this from Raylib. We don't want to so we are infinitely calling ourselves recursively, which, you know, I don't know how I didn't see it, but you know, is key down. Let's say key down. Yeah, whatever. Maybe not the best name. We should put the stuff from Raylib in some namespace or something, but okay, it doesn't work actually. Let's see what's the issue. Let's put a breakpoint, press space. We added an object. Let's see, scene. We banded this object. Let's see what's gonna happen. All right, we added all of those objects. Okay, so we actually have those objects in here, and those objects, let's see, one of them should be like a bullet. Yeah, a projectile, and the position is extremely high. Okay, I think what might have happened is it went extremely fast. So let's do like 10, like 1, sorry. Okay. So it actually doesn't work. So why is that? Is it the texture? Does it have a problem with the texture maybe? Maybe because we didn't really add any let's put in like a texture that we know it works. Oh yeah, okay. So it was it's a problem with the texture. Apparently we loaded that wrong probably, and as you can see it doesn't really look right. So first of all it has to go up. Computer graphics obviously. Loving the coordinate system. Okay, let's do a zoom out a little bit because I can't see too much in here. Like that. We have a problem with player projectile. Is it a problem with loading the texture? Did we get an error that we didn't know? Well, let's remove the cout from here. So, oh yeah, failed to open file. Why that is? Projectiles player beam. Projectiles player beam. Is it a different? No, it's a PNG. So it didn't find the file. That's interesting. Maybe it has some spaces that were, yeah, I think there is a space. Okay, so here's a space. Well, I usually don't like to use spaces in names when working with files and all that because, you know, things like this can happen, or maybe you pass the string to something and it gets trimmed or some weird shit like that. I swear God, software development, it's a hell, okay? So yeah, okay, now it works. And obviously, as we can see, that's pretty shitty. Let's bump up the speed. And this is actually us shooting bullets. I need more bullets. Okay. We have the speed. We obviously need some sort of concept of like how many shots per second we can do. Let's see. That's like attack speed. And let's put it like we can only attack like once per second. And so we are actually gonna have like a attack time, and we're gonna make this track. So every time we actually attack, we are gonna well, there are many ways of doing it. We are just, I don't know, I just chose one stupid way to do it. So every time we attack, we put here the attack speed, and we say, hey, every frame you just if this attack time is greater than 0, which that's not what I copied. So if it's greater than 0, we simply subtract the delta time. Okay. And here we need m attack time to be lower or equal to 0. Okay. In order for us to shoot. And it should actually shoot once per second now. Okay, I'm holding space now, and this is what's happening. Okay, let's say we want to attack a little bit faster. So let's say we want to attack like 10 times per second. We can actually do that. Like we take the milliseconds in a second, and we say how many shots we want per second. So we want 20 shots per second. Make sure that's a float so it gets converted. You know, that didn't get converted, I guess. Okay, that's very interesting. Oh, right, because we did it in reverse, by the way. Oopsie. That was too great of a number. So obviously we want to do it in reverse, so I forget about these breakpoints. Yeah, 20 times per second. Here it is. Okay. We want it in reverse because we have 1000 milliseconds per second, so we want, 20 times per second. So let's reduce it to like 5 shots per second, maybe. Okay, that's still really high. 3 times per second. Okay, that shouldn't be that high. And that's actually wrong. It should actually be like that. And that's 3 times per second. But that looks awful. Okay. So that just looks better. Okay. And it's, well, that's not exactly like 3 times per second. This should be the same thing theoretically. But yeah, I mean, you get it. So once this amount of time passed, we can attack again. Okay, this is attack speed basically. Okay, so this is gonna be really fast. Yeah, kind of like it actually. Okay, good. So this is it, guys and girls. We have an animated background now. We can shoot bullets. Next time we are actually gonna add probably like an enemy here that's gonna move like, I don't know, in a weird pattern. And maybe we are actually gonna add in some collision detection. Yeah, so see you next time. Oh, and maybe we're probably gonna clamp the ship so it doesn't go outside. Yeah. Okay, bye bye.